Oi boys, welcome to another video on the channel. We are back with some NRL tips and predictions. Week 13, the first of 3 big bye rounds. So before we check out team lists and make predictions, let's go ahead and take a look at how we did in the round that was round 12, Indigenous round. And golly, somebody call the cops because it looks like a crime scene up in here. So many dogs got up. The Manly-Warringah Sea Eagles beat the Storm at 4 Points Park. The Panthers, who were underdogs, beat the Sharks. The bloody Sharks didn't even get a point on the board. Just when you thought the Sharks turned the corner, the Panthers said, nah. There are levels to this game, son, and proceeded to discipline the Sharkies in their own backyard. Fire. Quite the performance. Jerome Luai back-to-back weeks with full control looked pretty good, steering the ship. As for the other losses, it was a terrible Sunday, one of the worst Sundays of the year for us, with the Titans getting up over the Broncos. The Broncos super disappointing. They needed this. They needed to get brought back down to earth, because you got the sense that more cocky and arrogant than confident, buying into the hype, sniffing the gas they were getting. And to close out the round, the New Zealand Warriors, the battered and bruised New Zealand Warriors with back-to-back dubs, turning the Finns away at home. It was a pretty good week of footy. As for the ones we got right, 2 perfect picks. We love those. We needed the Cowboys to go big, and big they did. Not convincing though, which is pretty wild to say, but Val saluted. They got up 13+, as did the Roosters with their skipper James Tedesco crossing, and the Bunnies, the underdog we picked, got up major 13+ points. Unfortunately, Jackie Whiten did leave the field, and that was all that happened in the Indigenous round. A terrible round in terms of tipping, going 3 from 8. Let's go ahead and see what round 13 holds for us in terms of ins and outs. There should be plenty to chat about. Let's get to it. So the action kicks off this Thursday night. Parramatta hosting Cronulla. There are some massive ins for the home side, with skip Clint Gutherson making his return, as well as Will Bensini and Mitchell Moses all back in their preferred positions. Taking over Origin bound Jermaine Hopgood will be Joe Ofahengaue, and with Gutho back, young gun sweeper Blaze Talangi moves to the 14. They do have Brendan Hands as the sole rake, with Joey Lussick dropping to reserves. As for the league leaders, there are 2 changes. Party boy Braden Trindle will be taking over Nico, and at lock, they have Jack Williams covering the defensive demon Cam McInnes. So in terms of history, Cronulla have the upper hand, winning 20 out of 38 games played, and more recently, they've beat them twice. Once in 2023, 30-26, and once in 2022, 18-16. So history's saying it's fairly quite tight whenever these 2 teams meet. As for their form heading into this, Penrith snapped the Sharks' 7-game win streak, and for Parramatta, I'm seeing straight up L's, 5 L's from their last 5 matches. As for my pick, I know Cronulla do have the wood over Para, and are the current league leaders and one of the more informed sides of the comp, disregarding last week, but we are going to go against that here and take the Parramatta Eels. I'm not sure if they are the underdogs or not, but I do like them back to pretty much full strength. You got Origin hopefuls there, looking to go crazy for a potential Game 2 appearance if things don't work out or if there are injuries. So I'm looking for big games out of Reg and Paulo, as well as the returning Mitchell Moses. Not looking for him to put on an absolute masterclass coming back from injury, but I do like their chances, and it's at Combank. They love winning there. So yeah, give me Parramatta and give me 1 to 12 points. As for our pie getter, our try scorer, I'm looking at Bryce Cartwright for a bit of value. With the shortened week, we do get 1 game for Friday, and that is the Newcastle Knights hosting the Canterbury-Bankstown Bulldogs. So we have a couple of ins for the home side, with twin Daniel Saifiti returning from suspension. He'll be coming off the pine, and the other being Christian Mapapalangi, who will be playing at centre for Bali tattoo enthusiast Bradman Estbay. For the Bulldogs, they'll be without skipper Critter, Matt Burton and Vili Kikau. With Burton gone, Hutcho joins Sexton in the halves. Karaz moves infield for Critter, while Blake Wilson hops back onto the wing. And lastly, filling in for Vili Kikau in the back row, they got Jacob Preston. What a replacement. They also welcome back Kurt Mann, who was reportedly rested for last week's game, so he's good to go. Diving into the history of the 2, this one's interesting, as we have a deadlock, 22 wins apiece out of 45 games played, with 1 draw. The Bulldogs actually evened that out earlier this season, picking up a 36-12 win back in round 7. Form-wise, the Knights are on a 4-game winning streak, grinding out super close wins, whilst the Bulldogs have won 3 from their last 5. As for my pick, I'm going to hop off the fence and on the side of the Newcastle Knights at home. It's such a bloody tough call. Defensively, both these teams are pretty solid. In fact, the Bulldogs are, I think, 2nd best in the league. Without Kikau, Critter and Burton though, I'm not liking their chances, so we're going to take Newcastle, like we said. We're also going to go 1 to 12 points, score a try. We're going to go with the veteran Dane Gagai. Kicking off the Super Saturday doubleheader, we have the Panthers hosting the Dragons, this being played, of course, at Bluebet Stadium. In terms of ins and outs, there are a plethora of changes on both sides of the field. Kicking things off with the Panthers, with 5 players off to Origin, they have Dane Laurie at fullback, Jesse McLean in for Brian To'o, and Brad Schneider makes a timely return for Jerome Luai. For the changes in the pack, they got Liam Henry on the right side, filling in for Liam Martin, and at lock, they got Lindsay Smith. And on the bench, a couple new names I'm seeing, Trent Toilau and Preston Ricky. As for the Dragons, they'll be without Ben Hunt, Jaime Sele, Jack Bird, Jaden Sualii, and Zach Lomax. Alright, so looking at changes, they got Sione Fainu on the wing, and on the other side of the field, the Feangai brothers make a return. Max and Matthew will be the centre wing pairing. In the halves, they have Jesse Marshke in for Ben Hunt. Luciano Leilua and Raymond Faitala-Mariner are the new back rowers, with Tom Eisenhuth moving from the back row to the middle of the field. On the bench, they also have Murdoch Marcilla as well as Toby Couchman and Ryan Couchman. Alright, moving on to our picks. Look, when in doubt, back the system. I think that's what we're going to lean on this one. The Penrith Panthers, with Flano being the most experienced half on the field, this could potentially be a takeover game for him in terms of control, but in order to do that, he'll need his forward pack to pop off and lay that platform. Speaking of, in that battle, I am back in the Panthers and their premiership winning front row. So like I said, I'm on the home side, back in the system, back in the Panthers at home. We're going to go with the grueler here. We're going to go 1 to 12 points, and for a try scorer, we are going to jump on the Dane Laurie Express. And headlining Super Saturday, we have the Finns taking on the Raiders at KO Stadium. In terms of ins and outs, not much missing from both these sides. Starting off with the home side here, we have Felix Galfusi and Hamiso Tabuai-Fado selected for Queensland, and they don't miss much at fullback, I'll tell you that much, with Trey Fuller returning for the Hammer. Mark Nichols, the Goats, will be starting in the front row. And look who it is, Anthony Milford is named on the bench. Checking out to the Canberra Raiders, they'll be without one, Hudson Young. So jumping into that left edge back row, they got Ata Mariota. The new man on the bench looks to be Simi Sasangi. Also, Joshua Pali'i is back from suspension for that hip drop. As for our pick for what might be the match of the round, looking at their short history, both teams have beat each other once in some pretty tight games. The Finns, they've won 3 from their last 5 coming into this one, losing to the Warriors, with the Raiders winning 2 from their last 5, and they are coming into this suffering a beating at home. Looking at the stats and figures, it is pretty similar. From completion rates to tackle efficiency, there's nothing much splitting them, and as for my pick, we will be taking the Dolphins for a bounce back at home. I just think they have more points in them. Isaiah Gardoa at halfback has been killing it quietly. We're going to ignore the tight scores of the past and take them 13 plus. And we're going to jump on Trey Fuller to score a try. And to put a cap on round 13, we have the Roosters versus the Cowboys. There's a lot of movement with both teams missing quite a few players. Looking at the Chooks, filling in for Joseph Sualii, they have Fetalainga Paunga. In the forward pack, Terrell May gets to start at prop. Nat Butcher slides into the left edge back row for Angus Crichton, and they're keeping Radley on the right side with Naufahu White through the middle. So sticking to that power game. On the bench, they have Sandon Smith, Siwa Wong, Sitili Tuponyoa, and Michael Jennings. Looking at the Cowboys, Tom Chester joins the back 5. Clifford joins Townsend in the halves. In the forward pack, Jake Granville will be playing hooker. Kulikefu Finefiyuaki will be playing for Jeremiah Nanai. And at lock, Thomas Mikaele. On their bench, they have Sam McIntyre, Harrison Edwards, Jamal Shibasaki, and Jason Taumololo. And as for my pick in this match, it is looking like a box of favorites here, as we will be taking the Roosters. The Cowboys, I'm just not confident in taking. That's just based off what I've seen from them this season. Yes, they've won half of their matches, but man, some of those wins have not been convincing. Their defense just isn't looking as good as it was. What was their breakout year? A couple years ago? And the Roosters are in form right now. They do have James Tedesco, which is a massive plus. And yeah, there's not much else to say. Their attack is looking, or it is starting to click. I think they got them beat on paper, and I think they'll get a comfortable win. So yeah, give me the Chooks. We'll take 13 plus, of course, and to score a try, I'm going to go with Joey Manu. And that about wraps up our tips and predictions for round 13. As always, boys, if you do have any tips and predictions of your own, let us know in the comment section down below, as well as try scorers. Until next time, if you enjoyed that, be sure to run and share that like button. And for more rugby league related content or more content in general, go ahead and drop your boy a cheeky sub. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you later.